Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Playmakers Bar Podcast. This is your college football edition. You know me, your host, down at the Playmakers Times out here in Jacksonville, Florida. And you know my co-host that is going over out there in Pensacola. What's going on?
It's good. Hey, these things happen. I just have an interesting troll for this episode for whatever reason.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear that one. All right. So this is your college football podcast. So those of you who've been listening to us, y'all should know. I mean, even if you haven't listened to us, you should know what we're going to talk about. You know, it was like one game left down in New Orleans, Louisiana. I think it was the biggest game of the season, Dallas.
Yeah, you could call it that.
I think we had the defending champs on one side. I think we had a team from Louisiana on the other side.
Yeah. You could say that.
I think they both called Tigers.
You definitely could say that.
I think both of them home stadiums are called Death Valley.
Very similar names. But yes, you could say that.
So we had LSU versus Clemson for the national championship back on Monday. And I'm pretty sure all y'all watched the game. I'm pretty sure you seen what happened. Dallas Glenn, the LSU Tigers beat the defending champs of Clemson and Dabo Swinney 42-25. Do I need to repeat the score again?
I mean, if you want to rub it into the ACC's face, I guess.
42 LSU Tigers, 25 Clemson Tigers.
Now let's be fair and respectful. It was a game till like the end of the third quarter. Actually, a very entertaining game, mind you. I mean,
I do not disagree whatsoever.
I think that, I'm gonna just stay in the context of the game right now, obviously, because it's the last game of the season. We got 60 minutes, but dude, that is the definition of a championship quarterback. That is the definition of a guy where it's like Joe Burrow is an elite number one prospect that was probably going to win the national championship anyway. If he happened to collect some awards along the way, cool. That's different than a Kyler Murray, where it's like, okay, he might be the best player in college football, but I mean, is he really gonna beat insert Alabama here? Insert Clemson that year here? I mean, you kind of knew going into the playoffs that year with Kyler Murray that even if he was a Heisman Trophy winner, he was not going to carry Oklahoma against either Alabama or Clemson. This year, however, you actually had to wonder, like, dang, like, if Joe Burrow doesn't win the Heisman, who's the other dude? Because I don't know if he's beating LSU. And I think this is one of the rare years where best player on the best team.
Yeah, you're right. Because that other dude took an ass whipping to LSU.
He did. But it's weird because, man, the Heisman is for every division of college football. I don't know if a lot of people know that. It's for all three divisions, technically four. But nobody from the FCS, D2 or D3 is going to win the award in the future. I can't say ever because back before they did the division splits, there were people from now D3 schools who won the Heisman. But in the foreseeable future, nobody from a small school is ever going to win it. So stop giving it to people who aren't going to win a national championship. That's just my 2 cents. This is the best player showing out and winning the game. Now, there are other people at LSU that had great games, but, this is why receivers will never win MVP in the NFL. You can't point to the wide receiver, I think his last name is Chase, who had like 200 yards off of like 9 catches.
Ja'Marr Chase, ladies and gentlemen.
You can't point to him and say he's a player of the game when Joe Burrow's Joe Burrow. Now, if it's John David Booty or A.J. McCarron or, good Lord, I can't remember that poor boy that ended up being a running back at training camp who was playing at quarterback for Alabama Lane Kiffin, but if it's one of those guys throwing to him, then yeah. because he probably only had 300 total yards passing. But, bro, Joe Burrow, what do you have, like 5, 6 touchdowns?
Joe Burrow, 31 for 49, 463, 5 touchdowns, 14 carries, 58 yards, and a touchdown on the ground. He had a total of 6 touchdowns against Clemson's defense.
And that's...
See, we'll pause it because you trying to let it sink into y'all heads. Clemson's defense gave up 6 touchdowns to one quarterback.
I mean, that's what the Heisman winner's supposed to do. If a guy in D3 wins the Heisman, I expect his team to be like 15-0, and for him to have like 7,000 passing yards. God dang it, Joe Burrow came close because he got the 15-0, and he finished with 60 touchdowns. Joe Burrow in a single season as a quarterback has numbers where that running back, if a running back put up the same numbers in his career that Joe Burrow put up this season, he's a first-round prospect, easy.
I don't think they heard you. How many touchdowns he threw for in a season?
60 with a 72.6 completion percentage or something like that. Basically, when Joe Burrow let the ball fly, somebody was catching it. Not Jameis Winston either. Like, people from LSU were catching it.
Gracious. 60 touchdowns in a season.
And 5,400 passing yards. Like,
hold on. They played 15 games, and this man averaged 4 passing touchdowns a game.
That actually makes it sound pedestrian. That actually makes it sound like in the sport of college football where talent trumps everything. You gotta think, Darnell, how many number 1 quarterback prospects have we had that when you look at it, 4 touchdowns a game, that's 28 points. So if your team is winning by 35-7, 42, so if you're blowing out teams every week in a week conference, you would think that 60 touchdowns has happened before. I'm sure it has, because Colt Brennan was a bad boy. Case Keenum was a bad boy. But in the SEC, we're talking
about Joe Burrow from LSU in the Southeastern Conference, where he had to play Alabama, he had to play Florida, he had to play Auburn.
I'm not gonna do hyperbole because it's college football. The game is changing, nutrition, all that good stuff. But dude, in the SEC West, having to face, say what you will, but Oklahoma's a blue blood. The moment Lincoln Riley leaves that job, everybody's going to want it. You go through Oklahoma and Clemson after doing an SEC West schedule and having to play Georgia in the SEC title game. 60 touchdowns, 5,400 yards. Whatever.
So, let's see. Florida, Alabama, Auburn, Georgia in the SEC title game, Oklahoma in the semifinals, and Clemson in the championship game. By the way, they showed a stat on Get Up. LSU beat 10 top 10 teams, 7 top 5 teams in this season.
I can see the argument that Pete Prisco is trying to make about the 1978 USC team, but I really think that's more so the talent on the team and what they went on to do, and not looking at the season itself. If you want to point to a team and what their players did when they went to the NFL, I think you're missing the point of the statement when some people say LSU might have had the greatest single season in college football history. Joe Burrow might do the unthinkable. He might win a Super Bowl for the Bengals. We don't know. But Joe Burrow winning a Super Bowl for the Cincinnati Bengals, hell, that trumps everything. That damn near trumps the old Miami team instantly if Joe Burrow brings a Super Bowl to Cincinnati. But when you just look at college and what they did in college, it's really the old Miami team. And then you're going down far down the list as far as who can rival what LSU did this season.
Man, that team. Look, Clyde Harris Edwards, 16 carries, 110 yards, 5 catches for 54 yards. Jamar Chase, 9 receptions, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns. His counterpart, Justin Jefferson, 9 receptions, 106 yards. Thaddeus Moss, the son of Randy Moss, he just catch 2 touchdowns.
Spreading the rock around. Like, your quarterback is on a different level when all the skill players have player of the game stats. But he was just that good. The quarterback has to throw it to somebody. This is true. And he had a lot of talent to throw to, but bruh, LSU has had Odell Beckham, Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Mathieu, Jarvis Landry, Leonard Fournette. Like, man, LSU done had talent, man. They've had talent at every position except for that one. And my God, Darnell, here's the crazy thing. Here's the thing we really need to think about. If Les Miles ever had a real quarterback, yeah, Jamarcus Russell was a top prospect and everything, but let's be honest, Al Davis, big, tall, rocket arm. Al Davis was going to pick Jamarcus Russell no matter what. If Les Miles had a quarterback like Joe Burrow, Les Miles would not be at Kansas right now. Before Joe Burrow got there, Ed Orgeron was going to keep the LSU tradition alive. They didn't change the offense this season until they realized, oh, this guy's different. It's crazy to think.
Insert Joe Brady.
And now Joe Burrow is going to the Bengals. Joe Brady is gone. You have to think to yourself like, yo, LSU is a top program. LSU has 4 national championships in the Poll era. LSU has like 3 of them that are, I know at least 3 that are real, because I know that there was a Nick Saban one, there was the funny one, and then there's this one. At least they happened in games. It wasn't like they were polled. So it's going to be interesting to see, because the offensive coordinator is gone, that quarterback is gone, and I think people, give it 5 years, I think people are going to realize, yo, we just saw the 0-1 Hurricanes 19 years later. That was one of the best teams ever.
I mean, what more? Let me do this to close out the LSU side. And not everything was good, Dallas. Not everything was good. They were 4 for 14 on third downs. That's bad. But 628 total yards.
I'm about to say, big when you have the ball as much as they did.
463 passing, 165 rushing. The time of possession of 34-45. I don't even know how they had the ball so goddamn much. That's the thing I'm still trying to figure out to this day. And this game happened on Monday. How did they manage to have the ball so damn much?
Well, you know,
I guess we'll figure that out when we get to the Clemson side after the break. But let's see. How many awards Joe Burrow won? He won the Heisman. He won the Maxwell. He won the, what's the quarterback award? It's the O'Brien Award.
Yeah.
That's 3. I think Coach Orgeron won Coach of the Year. They won like 8 different awards. I can't remember the other ones and who won them. But they came from LSU. I'm like, how did they? You cannot make this stuff up. This is why Dallas is saying LSU is like one of the best teams in college football. This team won 8 awards before they got to the national championship.
Hell, their offensive line even won an award.
How do you compete with this? You said the 0-1 Miami's. That team was swagged out. I ain't even gonna lie.
That's the only team. Some people want to bring up for Joe Burrow, people want to bring up the Cam Newton season. And while Cam Newton did carry Auburn that year, it's like, bro, come on, let's be reasonable here. We gotta stop. We gotta stop just because somebody can run and do some, like, bro. his quarterback at the end of the day. And then, for whatever reason, people want to bring up the 2013 FSU team, and it's like, shut up.
We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. So we're going to leave it right there. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to look at the Clemson side of this. Okay? So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Darnell, the Playmaker Says. I just want to take a moment to thank you guys for listening to us at the Playmakers of Fire podcast. Just to let you know, if you're listening to us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, why don't you go ahead and leave us a review. Tell us what you think of the episodes that you listen to, what you think of the podcast in general. If you listen to, Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Radio Public, Castbox, or any other platforms that we're on, follow us. Download the episodes, let us know any kind of way that you want to let us know, if it's on our Facebook page, the Playmakers Blog Podcast, or on our Twitter page at Playmakers Stuff. Just let us know, because we enjoy interacting with you guys and we want to show our appreciation. So follow us, like us, let us know how we're doing, and thank you for listening to the Playmakers Blog Podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and we're going to continue our talk about the national championship, but we're going to flip it over to who was the defending champions, who was the disrespected team throughout this season, who was the number 13, but should have been the number 2 team or the number 1 team, depending on how you want to look at it. Dabo Swinney. Trevor Lawrence suffered his first loss of his college career. What happened?
Well, for one, LSU showed up and showed out, and they did what they had to do. I think that the biggest thing was, when the train is coming, you can either get off the track or you can stand there, but either way, train's going to go through. And I think this is a case of this was one of those games where it's like, hey, you are the greatest quarterback prospect since John Elway. People are already considering how they're going to draft this year because they don't want to be too good and not have a chance to get you. This was a game where it was like, hey, look, everybody said you were trash all season. If you lost one game, you weren't going to be in the playoff. A lot of people, I know on our Facebook feed, I think some people would try to make the argument that Trevor Lawrence didn't carry the team. And he has Etienne. And he had Higgs. But I mean, bro, like let's call it a spade, bro. Etienne and Higgs, they could have great seasons, but if Trevor Lawrence isn't pulling the trigger, they're in some ACC affiliated bowl that isn't the Orange. Like, this was the game Trevor Lawrence had to step up and carry the team. This was the game where Trevor Lawrence was going to have to step up and have like 400 yards to keep it competitive. He was going to have to help his defense out a lot this game, and it didn't happen. But he's a sophomore. He's a true sophomore. We're not going to let him cop out. He's going to have to take these lumps. It's his first loss in college, and it feels different than when you win. It's supposed to, but that's what it was. I think this might have been the first game where he was going to have to play miles better than his defense. I think right now, Trevor Lawrence has been a very good Jimmy Garoppolo type. Not Kirk Cousins. See, Kirk Cousins needs everything to go right, and you hope he doesn't mess it up. Jimmy Garoppolo, all right, ship's going this way. I'm going to keep it going. The ship's going off course. I can get it back. But goddamn, we supposed to be going to Japan, and we in Samoa. That ain't good. Something went wrong. And I think that's what happened this game. I think this was the first game in a very long time, if you let sports media and history tell it, that Trevor Lawrence had to look at the boat and say, oh, wow, we are going the wrong way. And hopefully he learns from it.
So, Trevor Lawrence, 18 for 37, 234, 10 carries, 49 yards, 1 rushing touchdown. Travis Etienne, 15 carries, 78 yards, 1 touchdown. T. Higgins, 1 carry, 36 yards, a touchdown, 3 catches, 52 yards. John Ross, 5 receptions, 76 yards. So, Higgins and Ross both was under 100 yards. While Chase and Jefferson combined for over 300 yards. If I can find my paper, let me see. So, quarterbacking, I went LSU, you went Clemson. Running back, we both picked Clemson. You picked the receiving core correctly. Go, look at that. Let me throw this out here so people were thinking. Dallas, feel free to respond however you want to. Dabo Swinney. Because Dallas, you like to say coaching matters in college football. That's why I'm throwing it out there. Dabo Swinney.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, then I would respond Ed Orgeron. You don't have a complete overhaul and the entire dang team win awards. You don't have your offensive line become the best offensive line in college football and get awards. I mean, do you understand what you have to do to go from the quarterback and the playbook all the way down to how sports writers view your offensive line? Like, you look at LSU and you look at the offense, you look at the receivers, you look at the running backs, you look at Joe Burrow, you kind of sort of definitely forget the offensive line. But then when the offensive line gets accolades and gets respect, it's okay to say that Ed Orgeron empowering Joe Brady was the superior coaching tactic. It sounds simple, but coaching isn't always super intricate and direct. That's not to say that Dabo Swinney isn't empowering and delegating appropriately. It's just, bro, it's not even a matter of getting out-coached sometimes. Here's the thing. Let's be real. Let's be very real. Got some lucky calls the Ohio State game, but they had to get through it. They had to win. It wasn't easy. They played an easy schedule, and Dabo did his best to keep them motivated the entire time. I mean, come on. The way that they disrespected Clemson, the first playoff ranking, the way that everybody viewed Clemson, the first playoff ranking, and the head coach keeping it a game until late in the third quarter against this LSU team. Dude, sometimes the other team is just better. And you'll get coaches that got gray hair and 50 years in the game, now I'll tell you that. Sometimes the other team is just better.
So, it's crazy because the LSU defense slowed down the Clemson offense.
And that's the
Clemson
thing.
defense couldn't slow down the LSU offense.
Ugh.
So, y'all got to regroup. I mean, granted, y'all in the damn ACC, it ain't the SEC.
Now, settle down. Because the SEC isn't going to decline sharply, but a lot of the talent that made these programs competitive over the long term is leaving. God dang, who hasn't declared yet from LSU? That's the real question. Georgia's losing some talent. You might be getting better. Felipe Frank's leaving, but so the SEC is going to be the SEC. I think this season, Alabama going down and LSU capitalizing, I think that's solidified the depth that the SEC has, because if Texas or Baylor won the Big 12, it might have been worse. If Michigan or Penn State won the Big 10, it probably would have been a blowout in Clemson's favor. And God forbid it for Virginia.
I was talking about the ACC.
God forbid if Virginia won the ACC. They wouldn't have made the playoff. But, I mean, going forward, It's really, really, really tricky because this particular season, you gotta give credit where credit's due. This era, this century so far, you gotta give credit where credit's due. But I mean, here's the thing. Okay, they're in the ACC. Great. We can do all that and whatever. But last time I checked, Clemson did their job. Washington didn't do their job. Oregon didn't do their job. Utah didn't do their job. Penn State didn't do their job. Michigan damn sure didn't do their job. Wisconsin didn't do their job when they had a shot and it was a game. I mean, Oklahoma, be real, they didn't do their job. They're lucky that they were able to get Baylor again. So, say what you will, man, but when you're a national power, you transcend your conference. That's how it's supposed to be. That's why the SEC is just different. Because in a year where Alabama is down, you didn't get a Tennessee Titans. You didn't get a Utah. You didn't get a Baylor. You didn't get a Wisconsin. You got a LSU. You got the same damn conference with a nuclear offense. So before we crack those in the ACC, I mean, let's remember the other conferences now. There ain't much depth around the country.
Let me give these stats so I can be fair. Clemson was 1 for 11 on third down. Jesus Christ.
How is that fair?
1 for 11 on third down. 394 total yards. Jeez. 234 passing, 160 rushing. Time of possession of 25 and 15 seconds. LSU almost had the ball almost 10 more minutes more than Clemson. It just baffles me. They almost doubled them in total yards. Good gracious. If I'm in the ACC, I am scared as hell. We do know Trevor Lawrence is coming back, right?
Here's the thing I'm worried about if I'm the ACC. I've had Daniel Jones, Mitch Trubisky. I had the quarterback from Wake Forest as a graduate transfer now. I've had quarterbacks. I've had Lamar Jackson. I've had quarterbacks that went on to be first-round picks and, make the playoffs and all that good stuff, and they ain't do a dang thing. Now Trevor Lawrence is coming back another season. Now Dabo Swinney has a whole offseason to recruit with the mindset of my quarterback's not going to be back in a year. I mean, bro, and here's the thing. If you're a recruit in the SEC, it's different because it's like, bro, it's the SEC. Every team, even Vanderbilt, you can't go in with the mindset of I'm playing early. You at least going to have to wait till your redshirt sophomore year to see real playing time. And some kids just ain't trying to do that. You a Clemson recruit, you're a 5-star. You see Trevor Lawrence is about to go. You see Higgs is gone. You see that defense got ran through like a hot knife through butter. A contender, and I might have a shot to play by my true sophomore year. And I might play special teams my freshman year. Oh, sign me up. I feel bad for that conference.
Well, you know Clemson's coming back with vengeance.
I mean, quote. The quote fits perfectly here because that's what Clemson is about to do. But
somebody said Clemson was the SEC killer. I guess not.
Ugh. Well,
down goes Swinney and the Clemson Tigers. Hey, does that mean LSU owns the title of Death Valley?
Yeah, for this year. Yeah, for this year they got to. Got to come off that.
So, Clemson, sorry. You got dethroned. So, all right, we're going to take a break right here. And when we come back, we got some more college stuff to get into, surprisingly.
Well, this is what you do. It's the last episode, but it's that thing called off-season talk. Wheeling, dealing, all that stuff.
So we'll be right back.
The Playmakers of Our podcast with me, your host, Donnell the Playmaker Sounds, and my co-host, Dallas Gunn. You can catch us 2 to 3 days out the week, whether it's on a Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. We are on iHeartRadio, we are on iTunes, we are on Spotify, and many other platforms there is out there for your podcast and radio. We talk football, we talk basketball, we talk wrestling, whether it's college or professional, WWE or AEW. So subscribe to the podcast as we are now with Raise the Flag Productions. Check us out.
All right, people, we're back, and we talked about that championship game. We looked at both sides. We looked at the LSU side first. We looked at the Clemson side. As we said throughout the show, Clemson lost. LSU's the champs. Now we get to the offseason. Joe Burrow's going to the NFL draft, and most likely going to get picked by the Cincinnati Bengals.
God bless them.
On the same note, Joe Brady, who was the passing game coordinator for LSU, who turned that offense around, he's going to the Carolina Panthers as the offensive coordinator.
Tepper, man, David Tepper. He might know what he's doing.
So, yeah.
Doing
so if you're an NFL fan, especially a New Orleans Saints fan, you're not too pleased right now.
Yeah, but so yeah, that's all well and good, but we had 60 minutes. We didn't get to it in the last one, so who cares about that? Man, bro, the SEC won another national championship, and the quarterback and the passing game coordinator of the national champions is gone. The quarterback of Alabama Crimson Tide, he gone. And if I'm in that conference, please give me more Matt Jones, bro. That guy, that crazy pirate, that swashbuckler, Mike Leach, is in Starksville. Lane Kiffin, it's whatever city, because nobody cares about the city, okay? You got to make me care about that city. But Lane Kiffin's at Ole Miss. Derek Mason, God bless him, he's trying his darndest down
Mississippi there. For Mississippi, for those who trying to figure out what city it is.
Yeah, but help somebody, because they were like me, like whatever. Let me get to your point. Nobody cares about Oxford, but like, bro, like Derek Mason, Lane Kiffin, Mike Leach, Ed Orgeron, Nick Saban. There are some pretty strong names. Then you got Stoops' son is still at Kentucky, right?
As far as I know.
Yes, I mean, bro, like, then you got Mullen, Kirby Smart. The SEC, with the addition of Mike Leach, has fortified their defenses against those jive turkey suckers from the ACC and the Big Ten. You see, the second best coach right now in the SEC, go ahead and give it to the guy that just won a national title, Ed Orgeron. And when you look at Ed Orgeron, it's amazing because there were multiple schools that for superficial reasons did not want this man to be the head of their program. This man literally goes home, wins his home program a national championship. You go to the Big Ten, who's the second best coach? Darnell, I want you to say it with your lips.
That would be Jim Harbaugh.
Ha! And James Franklin won't touch it on this podcast. We do not want to get fired that early. He might not even be at Penn State much longer. So, like, okay, those are your 2 and your 3 right there. One might not even be there. The other one shouldn't be there. Go to the Pac-12. Now Mike Leach is gone. Now Steve Sarkisian's gone. Clay Helton didn't even have a job until he decided he had a job. And
Chris
then
Chris Peterson stepped down.
Yeah, I mean, bro, like, then Chip Kelly. Right now, no troll. Seriously, in all seriousness, Herm Edwards might be the best coach in the Pac-12 right now.
Probably he is the best coach in the Pac-12. No. We're gonna get that to Oregon for right now. We're gonna get that to Oregon's coach for right now. I
don't know, cause see what Oregon had the number 1 draft prospect come back for his senior season, and what did they get out of it? If you're the head coach of Oregon,
they got a Rose Bowl victory,
bro. you have the number one prospect come back and you don't make the playoff. Meanwhile, Herman Edwards had like 32 freshmen.
Look, I understand where you're coming from, Dallas, but if you're in the Big Ten or the Pac-12, the Rose Bowl is almost freaking equal to the national championship.
And that is your fault because you play on the West Coast and no voters give a damn about you. So you basically have to accept the fact that since nobody's going to vote for us in the polls because they're never awake to see us play, we might as well just accept the Rose Bowl for what it is.
Because pretty much before the college football playoff ranking, you can pretty much say the Rose Bowl game was pretty much the national championship game every year, to be honest.
No, that was when USC was at their best. I mean, bro, like Notre Dame and Alabama lead the pack with fake, mythical newspaper and real bowl game national championships. Takes a while to get to a Pac-12 team, bro. Like,
no, I'm not. I'm saying that I'm talking about the Rose Bowl. That's how prestigious the Rose Bowl is in college football.
You're talking about the Rose Bowl, where only a Pac-12 or a Big Ten team can play. I'm talking about the national championship where a team who's never been in a conference and a team in the SEC have the most between those two. You're talking about a game where only two conferences can be in it, and they're only in it because they weren't in a national title game. I'm talking about the best team in the country that given year. And Oregon was nowhere close to being the best team in the country this given year, even though the guy that was supposed to go number 1 overall in the NFL draft last year came back. I don't see how that's the best head coach in the conference. Like, bro, I don't even know dude's name at Ohio State, but right now he's the best one. He has Justin Fields coming back by force. Ryan Day, yeah. Actually, when Urban Meyer leaves the school, you might not want people to know your name, but
I'm surprised you got his name because we talked about him throughout the podcast. Because every time we talk about him, we got to talk about Jim Harbaugh.
Well, I was more talking about Jim Harbaugh than Ryan Day, but he has Justin Fields coming back. Dude made the playoff his first season coaching with a transfer quarterback. Let's not forget that. Like while we're sitting here arguing about Oregon because they won a nice little Rose Bowl, I mean, bro, like Ryan Day, after Urban Meyer leaving yet another situation terribly with a transfer quarterback, couple bad calls. Everybody can say a couple bad calls, but couple bad calls. He wins a playoff game. Either way, he got there. Either way, he beat Jim Harbaugh had Ohio State dead to rights. But Ryan Day found a way to get the job done. Oh boy, up in Oregon. What? If I'm just a Herbert, I'm looking at him, throw my hands up. What more can I do? Hell, what you want me to do? Recruit me a defense. What happened to the Lodi Nadas and the DeForest Buckners? I'm just out here throwing for 40, throwing for my life every week. But besides the point, I mean, it just goes to show, like, dude, think about it. The Pac-12, we have to seriously sit here and bring the Rose Bowl into it to try to figure out who the best coach is. Because there ain't no best coach. Big 12, hell, the Big 12 probably, no. I mean, Lincoln Riley.
That's Lincoln Riley. We're not even going to discuss that. That's just Lincoln Riley.
It's Lincoln Riley, but it's weird because, okay, Matt Rule applied pressure. Matt Rule is an NFL head coach. Granted, I probably wouldn't leave the Oklahoma situation to go work for Jerry Jones either. Difference is, though, there are a lot of quarterbacks. There's a lot of talent entering the transfer portal. And with college football recruiting, JUCO transfers, you only have them for 2 years. If that transfers, if they're a grad transfer, you have them for 1 year. There's the only way to truly, quote unquote, have long-term success is to get a guy out of high school and develop him. But dudes want to play early now. So Lincoln Riley's business model, for all intents and purposes, is sustainable. It's just, hey, 0-4 in the college football playoff. You're the best coach in that conference, but 0-4 in the college football playoff. And the guy who finally applied some pressure to you in the conference is in the NFL. You were supposed to be a name that was supposed to be in the NFL. You wanted to stay in college? Cool, by all means. We can't have the years that we had this year without good college coaches deciding to stay. But it's Lincoln Riley, Dabo Swinney, Nick Saban, Ryan Day. Godfrey, sad thing is we didn't even put Utah's coach in the conversation. There's a reason for that, but bro, so the SEC, I'd say all that to go back to the original point, bro. Mike Leach lived in the Pac-12. The Pac-12 needs to go. I don't know why they decided against it right before the season started, but they're going to have to come up off them 9 a.m. kickoffs. They're going to have to start kicking off at 9 in the morning so they can come in at noon because...
Oh, that option is still on the table.
Oh, no, it better... No, that option is going to have to be selected. They got to come up off that, man. You got to wake our ass up because y'all going to have to be on when everybody else on. Washington State and Mike Leach and leading the nation in passing, Mike Leach made you have to watch. They were leading the nation in a major statistical category. They had quarterbacks being nominated for the David O'Brien, like whichever award. There's a 5th-year senior award and the quarterback award. That's why I'm getting confused. Johnny United's Golden Arm Award and the David O'Brien Award. The Washington State quarterback was always in play for that. And Darnell, whenever you have a team that can score 50 points and still lose, hell, you got to watch that. So, but with that gone and with that now in Starksville, Mississippi, Darnell, dude, somebody said that Gardner Minshew's season and the guy who was just there this season, his name escapes me, those two quarterback seasons would have blown Dak Prescott's single season record out the water. One season from either Gardner Minshew or the quarterback they had this year would have put them in the top 10 for career yards. If they had an average season under Mike Leach, the second season, they would have the all-time career record at Mississippi State by a lot. That's what's coming to Starksville. They can go 4-8, but they were going to have 20,000 passing yards. And as we saw with LSU and as we saw with Tua, the SEC's Achilles heel might be a team that's willing to throw the ball. It's Southern old school football, old school fans and all that stuff. But when a team can throw the ball in the SEC, they're miles ahead of everybody else. And the problem is when a team in the SEC is miles ahead of everybody else in the SEC, how much better are they than everybody else in the country?
They'll pick from LSU, the safety. He's going to the NFL draft. T. Higgins has to claim for the NFL draft.
Mm-hmm.
So those are two from on the next championship game.
LSU got a ton of dudes. You might as well keep going.
That's all the ones that's officially announced.
Over Twitter was a while today. I gotta go back and check that.
So go ahead, cause I'm about to go on Twitter anyway. We gonna close this show out by looking at what the people said on social media, cause I threw a question out there.
Did you throw it on Facebook or Twitter?
I put it on both, but I don't think much happened on the Twitter part. So Facebook it is. Question was, with the college football season over with, what are the takeaways that you got from this season? So, shout out to John Turner from A Football World. I love that group. One of my favorite groups on Facebook. He said, football's a beautiful thing, Dallas. And I'm pretty sure you agree with that.
Yeah.
Michael Freeman says, Joe Burrow is the best football player he has ever seen. Somewhere I got a Tim Tebow in my head.
Again, we have to think to ourselves, okay, the quarterback can run. Cool. But we can't punish quarterbacks for being great quarterbacks. We can't punish pocket passers for being far and above better than everybody else just because they don't have eye-popping running plays.
But then again, you do have Bo Jackson, Herschel Walker.
Mm-hmm. Got Reggie Bush.
I mean, whew. I'm kind of running how old you is, Michael. I think you're older than me, but Joe Burrow's the best football player you ever seen.
There is a thing in statistics called recency bias. So hey,
Just saying, just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there.
just throwing it out there.
Justin Thomas, he talking about the targeting call, Dallas. He says targeting call should get the 15 yards and a warning. The second time it happens should be an automatic adjustment instead of targeting call, automatic adjustment, and the 15 yards.
Yeah. I would say that in the NFL level, keep it how it is because it's different. Like at the NFL level, you're talking about like grown men. Like everybody in the NFL is a Joe Burrow in theory, and getting hit in the head by them is different, especially when you consider the fact that every play ain't bang bang football in the NFL, and whereas in college it's like, come on, a lot of those dudes are getting their degrees and going to real life. We need to protect them. It doesn't make any sense that a guy can get hit and targeted. I'm going somewhere with this. A guy can get hit and targeted in college and nothing would happen in the past, but 1 foot can be a catch. Now we're seeing to where it's like, hey, that guy is a training camp grade. That guy is prolonging the inevitable. He's going to be playing in some arena league while working what his degree field is. He isn't as good as an NFL DB is supposed to be. He's not going to have the technique. His coaches, the fact that he's playing right now is not a coaching miracle, but I mean, it's a coaching miracle. Let's lay off because he had bad form. Let's lay off because, the receivers and the offensive coordinators are taking advantage of the middle routes because they know that the safeties can't bam like they used to. Call the penalty. Call the dude's name out. Have a field judge or an umpire keep tabs on him. And then as the second time happens, you got to let him go. Because, bro, if you that bad at football, then you dangerous to everybody else. So you might need to go. But I think at the college level, we can't have 1 foot be a catch. But, we just Xing dudes out because they had bad tackling form. I don't think that really fixes the problem like it should in the NFL. In the NFL, everybody wants to be on the highlight reel for their contracts. In college, some dudes might just not be that great at football at the D1 level.
All right. Patrick Freeland, Gator fan. He says, well, the Gators are getting better, no doubt, but this championship game proves we still have a ways to go. We will get there. Trust the process. Patrick, I agree with you. There's one problem. It resides in Jacksonville, Florida. Can we beat Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs? It's like that's like the only thing.
Jake Fromm's gone.
We got that going for us, but the Newman, the transfer from Wake Forest, he's transferring to Georgia.
Oh well, never mind. Because if he had Wake Forest almost halfway there to relevancy, good God, what's he gonna do at Georgia?
So, like, can we beat Georgia? Can we please beat Georgia? That's
the weird thing with Florida. Here's gonna be the weird thing with Florida. Every year, Florida has a first-round defensive prospect. Every year, Florida has somebody where it's like he's high on the boards. Mel Kiper and Todd McShay always have something nice to say about him. They have highlights and everything. Then you look up his stats and you're like, okay. Then he gets drafted in the first round. He goes somewhere in the NFL. You're wondering where the hell he's at. It would be nice if the Florida defense that has always had first round talent and has always had like these generational draft prospects coming from the defense. It'd be nice if you guys had a season where your defense like really carried you. I'm talking like Oklahoma offense carries Oklahoma carried you. Because like if you stop Trevor Lawrence from scoring just long enough for your team to figure out how the hell to score, you'll win a game. But if you can't outscore Joe Burrow, then you can't outscore Joe Burrow. Florida has too much defensive talent to just always be in this situation where you're like, what happened?
Yeah. Stephen Lee Ashby said Oklahoma is horrible.
Water's wet.
Huh?
The water's wet, the sky is blue, and the air is dry.
Robert Keelan says that Michigan will again come out preseason top 10 for no reason. And if that happens again, I already know what I got to deal with the man that's in Pensacola on here with me right now. If Michigan is a preseason top 10, I already know what I got to deal with.
I understand why the polls do this. It's weird because on one hand, you don't want to be super wrong. A lot of dudes in the media are scared to be wrong because at the end of the day, a lot of sports journalism is opinion journalism. Everybody's reporting the same thing. When you're truly reporting in sports, you're not telling news that's new to anybody. Just go when Patrick Mahomes got hurt. The announcement of Ron Rivera as the Washington Redskins head coach. Ed Orgeron as the LSU head coach. Dude, all the blue checks are saying the same thing. The only way you can be different and separate yourself is to have a take. So I get they want to have safe takes. I know they want to be there when Michigan's 9-0 before the Ohio State game, so they can say, "Ha, I told you so. I picked it," and they name some random player that's having a good season and moving up the draft board. But, bro, Justin Fields is coming back. You can't put Michigan in the top 10 when you know they're about to lose to Ohio State again.
Joshua Davis, another one from Football World, says that it goes by too quickly. And I'm pretty sure Dallas agrees with you.
Yeah, bro. It's weird because when it's October and you have that marquee 3:00 game on SEC on CBS, you see stuff starting to take shape, but it seems like January 15th or 13th or whichever date it is that you're so far away. Then it gets here and you're like, dang, now it's college basketball season. Or for some of you who are really into the game, spring football season.
What can I tell you? Well, we're doing good on time, so we got more to do. Dominic Gary. Ready for this one, Dallas?
Mm-hmm.
He says that a bunch of teams were overwhelmingly overrated. I asked him to elaborate. He said Oregon, Oklahoma, Baylor, Wisconsin, Utah, Memphis, and Appalachian State.
Well, okay, for one, it's amazing to put Appalachian State on that list when they're not going to get any coverage any damn way. Appalachian State could have went 14-0. They wouldn't have gotten the coverage needed to truly be overrated. That's the first thing. The Power 5 teams, though. Baylor finished second in the Big 12. Who was Baylor's bowl game against?
Georgia.
Oh, well, hell. These things happen. I mean, I look at a Baylor, and I can't remember the list you went off, because I'm just going to assume everybody else on the list was off because I thought of Baylor first. Baylor wasn't overrated. People have to remember. Overrated. People have to remember that Baylor is rebuilding from a extreme scandal. The only scandal that may have been worse in recent memory is the Penn State situation. Again, trying to stay on the air, not going to touch it. But Baylor is coming back for something serious. Baylor had to go to a situation where they had to give whichever coach they were able to get after Art Briles the time. Baylor wasn't good immediately, but this season is like PJ Fleck at Minnesota. Just because they exceeded expectations and are ahead of schedule doesn't mean that you should have drunk the Kool-Aid. That's the problem with sports in general, but really college sports too, because we're in Florida. Me and Darnell are in Florida. I pay attention to the school I went to. He pays attention to the school he rooted for his entire life. And on top of that, he went to UCF for a little bit. So either way, both of us, we're going to care about Florida. And because Florida schools are in the ACC and the SEC, we'll count USF. I mean, bro, like, we're going to know about other teams in the Southeast, but we're not really going to know about a Minnesota. We're not going to know about Indiana. We're not going to know about an Oregon State. We're not going to know about a Wyoming. We're not going to know about all that stuff. So just because a team from a major conference wins a couple of games, has a hot start, gets on the national radar, bro, that's the Power Five. It's the Power Five is supposed to be. The difference is supposed to be if you win a lot of games in this conference, you're one of the best teams in the country because it's one of the best conferences in the country. Just because you bought into the hype doesn't mean that Baylor was overrated. That's what the Power Five is supposed to do and supposed to be. They lost to Oklahoma and lost to Georgia. I mean,
Oregon, I don't see them overrated. Oklahoma, they got embarrassed by LSU. Baylor, I don't know what happened against Georgia. Wisconsin is Wisconsin. We know who Wisconsin is, so how can they be overrated? We know who they are. Literally. It's like the only team in college football we know who they are from start to finish.
Well, hell, now that I think about it, I might agree with you with the Oregon thing, because when you honestly, like, seriously think about it, unless it was Justin Herbert talk about how he was performing in the draft or was going to perform in the draft, when did we really talk about Oregon?
Utah had a good season until they ran to Oregon.
No, what actually, yeah, because, bro, like, Georgia was going to get into the playoff over Utah if Utah won the Pac-12 and Georgia won the SEC. A team that lost their conference was going to get in over you. There was no way Utah was going to get into the playoff. So I think that's the case. See, that's the weird thing, because I think them ranking Utah 5 was a case of false hope. There's no way in hell Utah was going to get into the playoff. I think even if Utah wins the Pac-12, I mean, it's very hard. It's very hard to overrate Utah. Because
you already defended the Appalachian State one, so let me get to the Memphis one. That's another Group of 5 team. They only can play who allowed them to play. They were the Group of 5 national champions from us. And you can say from the college football product, because they the ones that got the New Year's Six bowl game. Penn State did what they supposed to have done.
Their running back, who is being compared to Saquon Barkley, did what a running back being compared to Saquon Barkley is supposed to do.
They was in the New Year's Six bowl game ranked 17th. Now the final rankings, Appalachian State and North Memphis are ranked in the top 15. So how can they be overrated?
Like,
y'all have to learn how to separate the Power 5 from the Group of 5. When a Group of 5 team shows up, when a Group of 5 team makes his run, be happy, because there can be some parity for once.
And also, you gotta consider the media outlets you must be following on your social media, because like here, we separate the Group of 5 and the Power 5. That's why we have a damn Group of 5 national championship. What Mac Brown wanted to realize at the end of the season, we realized a long time before. So, like, I don't understand how Memphis and Appalachian State can be overrated, because, bro, Appalachian State has been in the upset game for a while. Appalachian State beat 2 Power 5 teams. They didn't get half the attention and half the love UCF got.
Unfortunately, that's all the time that we got. I wish I can do some more of these, because me and him can go all day with y'all with this stuff and how y'all respond. Well, I tell you. But, that's the end of college football season. Don't worry. We made an adjustment. So, thanks to Dallas. He did this for you guys. So be thankful, because he's going to give y'all the off-season stuff when the pretty much any week that we're not talking about wrestling, because we still trying to figure some things out about wrestling right about now. It's like we making progress when they make progress. So you're going to hear from Dallas more talking about football and off-season stuff as we get closer to the NFL draft and combines and stuff like that. So Dallas, I'm happy that you decided to do this.
Oh, well, like you just said, and I will repeat, like, bro, like, there's nothing to talk about on the other subject right now. So we're just going to hope that the Royal Rumble is a good sign going forward for the year, because, buddy, April is a long way away from the end of January, and we will wait that long if it looks like that. So, yep, because, 3 games. We're not counting the Pro Bowl. So 3 games left in the NFL season. Already talked about 2. Gonna have a big bonanza for the last one. And then as soon as the clock hits 0, in whichever quarter, the 4th or the 5th, it's gonna be draft time. The Bengals will be on the clock. So anybody's interested in that, because if you're not one of the 4 teams that won the Super Bowl, you're on the clock too. So hey.
So with that being said, you already know Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all the good stuff. You know our Facebook page, The Playmakers Blog. You know our Twitter handle, Playmakers Does. So that's Dallas Glenn over there in Pensacola. I'm down at the Playmakers Silence in Jacksonville. We are signing off, and we'll talk to y'all next week at the championship weekend.
Bye-bye.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.